Final Vendetta is a retro-styled side-scrolling beat-em-up from Bitmap Bureau. It's an homage to the classic beat-em-ups of the 1990s such as Final Fight, Mugen or Streets of Rage. The main story is that there's a gang that's kidnapped the sister of one of the main characters, so now you have to wade through 6 levels of enemies to rescue her. It's simple, to the point, and not concerned with such fripperies of detail, themes or tone. Just get out there and smack the shit out of people.
Final Vendetta!
Doing the smacking are the 3 main characters: Claire, who's the speedster, Duke, who's the mid-tier, and Miller, who's the tank. Pick one, then get the smacking. The first thing you'll notice is the difficulty. This game is hard, even on easy. Yeah, there's a huge learning curve and it'll take you a few attempts to get through some of the levels. And here's where the first issue lies. There's no continues, run out of lives and that's it. You'll have to start all over again. Easy mode just gives you a few more lives and slightly fewer enemies. This is a game that requires you to complete the whole thing in one go. This leads to several more issues, namely, you'll be replaying the first few levels quite a lot due to the punishing difficulty, so don't be surprised if you're sick at the sight of the opening 2 levels within a few hours. This gets even worse when the game becomes blatantly unfair in the later stages, with some points having lots of unavoidable damage, or even instant death events. This is compounded even further by the game not having a level select function. If you die in the later stages, you'll have to play through the whole thing all over again and hope you remember. All this rinsing and repeating is made a good deal easier to put up with by the bombastic soundtrack, which is easily the best part of this game. It's pounding and is spot on throughout the whole thing. It's an amazing piece of work and perfectly sets the period the game is in. The graphics are spot on too. Final Vendetta looks and sounds like it could have been played in an arcade back in the 1990s. Bad thing is, Final Vendetta isn't as well thought out as a lot of its inspirations. There are so many decisions made that don't seem to have any thought behind them. Having to unlock the training mode is a big one, as by the time you've ground your way to the end, any value a training mode will have had will have been wasted. The block serves no real purpose and only serves to leave you vulnerable. Being able to kick enemies while they're down is a nice touch, but it leaves you vulnerable. Back attacks are handy, but they leave you vulnerable. There's a theme here. In fact, the one move that would have been handy, that quite a number of your enemies have, is a rising sweep attack. None of the weapons on offer seem to provide any sort of advantage while using them, instead only serving to limit your moveset at the worst possible moments. Combat suffers from a distinct lack of polish, which is quite galling for a game like this. The hitboxes for grabs are unreliable and some enemies actually can't be grabbed. This is a real flaw, as in beat 'em ups, grabs are essential moves for crowd control. They're also the best way of keeping chains going, more on that here later. This hurts the combat, especially for Miller, as his grabs are his most damaging moves. The attacks you have are also poorly defined vertical ranges, so you'll never be sure where and when you can or be hit. You'll eventually get used to it, but it's never intuitive and it'll be a constant thorn in your side throughout the whole game. My main issue with Final Vendetta, however, is that if you're not willing to sink countless hours into learning every move, every enemy position, every trap, every facet of every level, then this game just has no time for you. It can't be played instinctively, you have to grind it, die, then grind back again. Playing the early levels so many times you'll be seeing them in your sleep like some fucking dreadful repressed memory. This is highlighted by the grading and the scoring system. The grades are determined primarily by the chain of hits you string together as you progress through the level. Now, fans of games like Devil May Cry will be familiar with this mechanic. However, in Final Vendetta, your chains expire quite rapidly, not just when you get hit, but if you go a short time without hitting something. This means that for a maximum score, you have to blast your way through the levels. This makes the block action even more nonsensical due to how much it slows down the action. It also means you have to memorise the gaps in the enemy waves and remember to run through them in the hopes your chain doesn't expire. And even if you get through a level without getting hit or dying, if you didn't create a near unbroken chain from start to finish, you're getting the lowest fucking score and rank possible. This is made even more egregious a choice because scoring high is your only chance of getting more lives in this game. Not that you'll be rewarded with much when you eventually complete the game anyway. There's a boss rush mode, which thanks to the tiny cast may well be the weediest of its kind in history. There's a survival mode for the weirdos, and an ultra difficulty mode for the nerds. Even if for a tight arcade experience, there's nothing really to keep you coming back here. In summary, while Final Vendetta is a faithful homage to games like Final Fight and Streets of Rage, I can't recommend it over those games. Especially not the latest Streets of Rage 4, which is streaks ahead of Final Vendetta in almost every way. Also, releasing it in the same window as the excellent Shredder's Revenge is surely tantamount to self-sabotage. Both those games have online co-op too, which for some weird reason Final Vendetta doesn't. Now, while I love the old school retro stylings and the vibe the game gives off, ignoring the progress that's been made since those days only serves to make what could have been a great game merely good. My advice is to pick this one up on sale if you like the look of it, or if you're a Switch owner, try out the demo first.